Hello, good day everyone. My name is Elmer Lambigit Hayagan. Once again, I am reporting with this topic of promoting good local governments through performance-based grants. This is a subject of PA5 of BPE2 at Irene B. Antonio College of Mindanao. The commitment and importance of this topic is to encourage the opinions was to provide it their post for good local governments incentives the top pillars of strong responsive government are the good performance and the good housekeeping and makes the award process open and transparent. Aquino's administration's aims for good governance at that time the Department of Interior and Local Government or the ILG launched the two programs that seek to promote and incentive it at the local level. The Seal of Good Housekeeping, the Performance Challenge Fund, the commitment implementation for this is addressing to the advocates of both within the outside of government during the implementation phase. And the bank, the Seal of Good Housekeeping, assists local government units, LGUs, on whether they attain minimum governance standards. LGUs must meet two standards to become conferred with the Seal of Good Housekeeping. Number 1, LGU must comply with the full disclosure policy by posting budgetary documents online and in their bulletin boards. And the second one is the LGU must have no serious negative findings in its annual audit report published by the Commission on Audit. LGUs must receive a sale to receive a grant from the New Performance Challenge Fund, or what we say in abbreviation is the PA5. This is the provided with a performance-based grant which they can use to supplement funding for local development projects. The PCF program provides a subsidy for almost or more or less 1 million pesos or $25,000 for municipalities, 3 million pesos or 75,000 US dollars, and 7 million for provinces. That is the projects to be funded. And it must be contribute to the attainment of the Millennium Development Goals, tourism and local economic development, disaster reduction and management, solid waste management. While the grants may not be big, they go a long way in extending assistance for development projects, especially for low-income municipalities and cities that inadequate funds to provide services and projects that have been developed to them by national government. These local government units often have to rely on their provincial governments or district representatives, Congress to provide supplemental funding for their local projects. The projects financed by the FCF is the school buildings, the rural health units, the water and the sanitation system, the local roads and bridges, the slaughterhouses, flood controls, reforestation, post-harvest facilities, cold storage facilities, and among others. The key factors in allowing this effort to succeed is what the emerging opportunities as a result. The Good Housekeeping Seal and the Performance Challenge Fund were supported by the series of roadshows, like the Tapatan Roadshows. It is set up by the Interior and Local Government Secretary J.C. Robredo, a former, and its aim is to increase the level of awareness, participation, and compliance of local officials and various stakeholders. The civil society was a vital part of the two new incentive programs. Civil society organizations were able to become members of regional and provincial teams that reviewed and validated the assessment reports on a good housekeeping. Such an organization were become members of regional and provincial teams that reviewed and validated assessment reports on good housekeeping. The citizens benefit from this reform. In 2012, a total of 77% or 1,327 out of 1,713 local government units, which is 71 provinces, 111 cities, and 1,145 municipalities, were conferred with the seal of good housekeeping. More importantly, the seal of good housekeeping is adopted by other government agencies as an eligibility requirement for its program. The seal is now required by the Land Bank of the Philippines, a government financial institution, before a loan can be given to a local government unit. The bottom-up budgeting program also uses the seal as requirements for LGUs to be able to participate. The seal and the performance challenge funds have notable benefits, increasing transparency in government budgets and plans by incentivizing compliance with a full disclosure policy, instilling prudence and discipline in local fund management, and providing an initial benchmark for the good local governance by identifying conflict assessment criteria. They have also, through the new funds available, augmented local government resources for development projects. A list of such local projects funded can be seen here. Let me proceed to the second topic, which is the participatory governance, the Philippines experience, people power, and the rise and fall of the Philippine presidents. In our history, the current demonstration in the street of Manila, the hysteric of the Philippine process and rumors flying with a breeze about President Joseph Estrada alleged ill-gotten wealth, the vices, and corruptions echo events in the country which toppled the authoritarian Marcos regime. In 1986 experience, that was before, it taught the Filipino that they could bring changes in government if they remain vigilant and if they participate in the process of governance themselves. The post-EDSA, the event brought with an acceptance and appreciation of people's important role in governance. The 1991 Local Government Code in the 1987 Constitution is used to operationalize and concept in grassroots governance. The Aquino regime brought the power through a coalition of different sectors, including cause-oriented groups, and enshrined people power. So people experience was large democratic space, and organizing and mobilizing capacities into the new unfamiliar political terrain made by the Ateneo CSPPE on 1993. And through the NGOs and the POS, coalitions, and partnership with government agencies, the citizenry was able to take responsibility in its own destiny, taking government the task to fulfill its sworn duties. By October 2000, People Power had put a stop to constitutional amendment in 1997 to 1998, which would retain certain elective authorities in power, had experienced also direct participation in governance, and is in the process of yet another attempt to oust a president. On the maelstrom of martial law, non-governmental and people organizations considered it their duty to augment basic services delivery to the people in neglected areas. While the authoritarian forces clashed with what Marcos military considered communist organizations, such a challenge, and swept down hapless rural doctors and religious organizations active in what they considered as people's cause. So, the participation in governance in the Philippines is an archipelago in Southeast Asia. It lies south of Japan and Taiwan, east and mainland Asia, and north of Indonesia. Mostly of Malaysia extract, but have the Chinese and Spanish racial influences imbued with Spanish and American characteristics. The Spanish colonization turned most of its native animist population into Catholics, except in Muslim in the south and pockets of the ethnic communities affected the native culture where moods of behavior reflect values akin Hispanized Latin American countries. Only the elite were educated in Peru at the time. The child schools and friar-run universities. The victory of the American when it came conquered the colonialism in the Spanish-American War led to the Treaty of 1986 People Power event held at EDSA Epifanio de los Santos Avenue, Quezon City. It was introduced an alien form of politics and government. Broad education is were taught. The 3 Rs in the English language Philippines. It is introduced the civil service system in government and the electoral process in politics. The redemocratization of formal participation and governance on 1986 after 20 years of authoritarian rule. According to Carreño in 2000, democracy is that says system of relation between the governor and the governed that blunts their distinctive roles so that citizens are not simply rolled over but have more say in matters affecting their lives. The non-government organization, according to Berliantis of 1994, in the Philippines as part of the democratization process, part of the operationalization of the general strategy of decentralization of highly centralized system of government. The historical background, the government in the Philippines started with the independent states called barangays, led by the Dato, was the supreme in all spheres. And then the Spanish colonization reduced the status of the barangays to mere barrios. And when the American came, the American retained by the 1935 Constitution, which was used to transitory Commonwealth government and the post-colonial government from 1946 to 1971 until a new constitution and martial law in 1972 further strengthened and centralized government. So, according to Mature on 1986, it's been described as a first mode, only educated and moneyed people, and the second mode, the people as beneficiaries legitimize already identified projects, and the third mode is the beneficiaries are only the consulted. When the Ramon Magsaysay won in his legacy for candidacy, he was inaugurated a nationwide community development program. And on Marcos years, the participatory strategies were used to control strategy to mobilize inhabitants for political consideration, which is for the Carada and Europa 1992. And in 1978, in our history, the system of village justice was established. It's aimed to amicably settle disputes at the community level through conciliation. And it is called the Muslim Sharia courts in Mindanao. It is the barangay heads as many as 20 persons in the village form the conciliators in the village justice system. When the development beginning came, on 1986, it pushed forwards an institutionalized and participation of people in governance. The 1987 Constitution provides that the state shall encourage non-governmental organization, shall promote the welfare of nation, and Article 13 promotes this principle further. Section 16 especially guarantees to the right people and their organization effective and reasonable participation at levels of social, political, and economical decision making. The first local government code, Batasang Pambansa, number 337, came up and provide for people's political participation. More teeth were given by the present local government code on Republic Act 7160. The code is also provides for participation of the private sector in local governance. The local development councils perform the task of planning and prioritizing local PRC grants and projects. People participation in governance is achieved and in that code, and the creation of other special bodies which include representation from the NGO and POS and the private sector, and the task of the planning and prioritizing the local PRC grants and projects from the lowest level barangay to the basic level city and municipality up to the provincial level. The special bodies where people show NGOs and the private sector are involved are the local school board, the local health board, and the pre-qualification of bids and awards committees and the Peace and Order Council. The local legislatures or the presidents of the barangay associates the youth are represented since 1992. And since 1992 also, the 25 municipalities have been converted into cities. The creation of ARMN or Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao was presented to several provinces for referendum, but only 4 agreed to join the ARMN. So the Cordillera Autonomous Region or CAR at the time, both bills of them did not pass the referenda conducted in the provinces for which CAR was intended. The governance as partnership between the local government and the people. Several governmental and non-governmental bodies have initiated awards to encourage local governments and communities to exercise full use of the power. And the prestigious awards are the Galingpo or Good Local Area, its HAMIS or Health and Management Information System, the Clean and Green, Conrad Adenauer Medal of Excellence, KAMI, and the Pamana ng Lahi Heritage. The Center for Local and Regional Governance of the National College of Public Administration and Governance, University of the Philippines, conducted a study on decentralization for the UNDP in 1997 to 1998. And their area of their conduction is the Arasin, the Sorsogon. For the Visayas group, Balilihan, the Bohol. For Mindanao, the Surigao City, the Tapales, in 1998, according to Tapales. And the International Union of Local Authorities came out with a document in 1999 on partnership for sustainable development. It emphasized that the people themselves in their own communities are encouraged to take the lead in action for sustainable development. And the conclusions of their studies is the unstoppable swords. So this is the expected result for the topic 2. And its inclusion is the people participation in the governance in the Philippines is moving like current that can no longer be stopped. So those efforts were institutionalized through the Acknowledgement of People Role in Governance in 1987 Constitution and the groundbreaking Local Government Code of 1991, which provided the mechanisms for people participation in governance. So that is the people participations all about. And let me proceed towards the greater local democratic governance. My third topic is a view from the Philippines. In this area of focus, in the landscape of the Philippine politics and governance, the revolution swept across the country from one to end to another, from the smallest barangay village to municipalities, cities, and province. So hearken the voice of the EDSA people power because its essence breathed life to small democracies in urban and rural communities, so the people can directly take part in the making of public decisions that affect their life. So the local government code passed by the Congress in 1991 was considered by many as a revolutionary piece of legislation. Significant significant accomplishments of the Aquino's administrations also. So the code was perhaps more significant in laying the enabling framework and environment for local empowerment and democratic governance to take roots in thousands of communities around the country. So the local government is a bedrock of the Philippines democracy. Remember always that importance of the local governments is the bedrock of Philippines democracy. These serve as access points of citizens in having their voices heard and acted upon. And it plays a significant role in the far-flung and isolated areas of the countries since they are links in the chain of governance but are in direct contact with the people. For many people, local governments are the government. Once again, for many people, local governments are the government. So, it animates the ubiquitous civil societies or organizations, particularly the non-government organizations or NGOs and people organizations or POEs that engage the citizens and local governments in many aspects of local governance. It have given voice to many problems and aspirations for the common people. The presence has been felt in many aspects of community governance, in urban housing, livelihood project, capacity building, health, development planning, and other local concerns, and where government appears ineffective or unresponsive, NGOs and POEs are thrust to somehow fill the gap. The national context of this is comprising of 7,107 islands and the land area of 300,000 square kilometers. The Philippines is one of the largest islands groups in the world, stretching from the south of China Sea to the northern tip of Borneo. Its coastline is about 34,640 kilometers, is longer than that of Great Britain and more than twice the length of the United States coastline. And it lies southeast of Asia, contained directly below to Taiwan, surrounded by the waters of South China Sea, in the west of Pacific Ocean in the east. So, the Sulu and Celebes Sea in the south, and the Bessel Channel in north. So, the Philippines is the third largest English-speaking country in the world and has over 100 ethnic groups and a mixture of foreign influences that has shaped a distinct Filipino culture. A democratic and republican state where sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanates from them. and it is the unitary state with a presidential form of government, and the government operates through its three independent and co-equal departments, which the executive, the legislature, and judiciary. So regular elections are held to elect officials at the national down to the local levels. And geographically, subdivided into provinces, cities, municipalities, and barangay, which are scattered across its three big island groups, Luzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao. From an initial number of 13, the regions grew up to 16 until this date. So the reform was characterized and the regional, provincial, and city and municipality levels ostensibly to reduce red tape and speed up the provisions of public services and address the regional disparities and facilitate regional growth and development. And geographically, the subdivided into provinces, cities, and municipalities, which are scattered across the big islands groups of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The four subdivisions comprises the local governments in the country today. And these are the provinces, the cities, the municipalities, and barangays. And it is democratically elected officials govern these local units. So, the local government code allocates the powers, function, and resources to each of these units when regarded as the hierarchy. So, Philippines local government consists of three tiers. It is the province, the cities once again, and municipalities, while the barangay from the lowest tier. And as of March 2005, the Philippines has 79 provinces, 117 cities, and 1,500 municipalities, and 41,975 barangays. So the province is the largest unit. It is composed of municipalities and in some cases include component cities. The cities and municipalities are the units that directly provide general or basic services to the residents in the community. Primary healthcare, lighting of the streets, collection of disposal of waste and garbage, health and material care, construction of local roads, and other local infrastructures, local parks, and operation of public markets are but few of the basic services that cities and municipalities provide. So they classified as component and independent and highly urbanized cities. The component cities are administratively supervised by the province that has territorial jurisdiction over them and their residents vote for the provincial officials. The independent and highly urbanized cities are independent of the province and their residents do not vote for the provincial officials. Otherwise, all cities perform the functions and services provided by the province and municipality. This means that cities have broader responsibilities and powers compared to provinces. And the smallest units are the barangay or village. They comprises the cities and municipalities. Residual powers and these are performed in support of the services that their mother units provide and assigned to assist in the distribution of planning materials, maintain barangay health center and daycare center and other infrastructures, facilities within their community and the barangays. The local governments classified according to their income as basis for fixing the maximum tax ceilings that local. So governments may impose the salary laws and administrative issuance on allowance and emoluments may be entitled to also uses these classifications of local governments classifications. And the president has general supervisions over local governments. In practice, the responsibility to supervise is delegated to the Department of Internal and Local Government. In the southern part of the country, where the autonomous region of Muslim Mindanao exists, the regional government act as the direct superintending authority over the local government instead of the president, because it is very far. And in Metro Manila, there is the Metro Manila Development Authority, but it serves as an administrative agency whose mandate is to take care of the specific metro-wide public services like garbage disposal, the flood control, the traffic management, and metro-wide physical planning. And the highest policy making body of Metro Manila Development Authority is composed of the local chief executive and the metropolitan units. The authority does not have. So, the political or administrative control are over them. Unlike in the autonomous region of Mindanao region, where the component units are under the supervisions of the regional government, it is not the case in Metro Manila. It is still the President through the Department of Interior and Local Government. So, the DILG has the big responsibilities that has direct general supervisions over these metropolitan local governments. In number 3 is the laying the ground for democratic local governance. It is gained in 1946 had shaped the character of local governments in the country and their relation to the national government. So, the time to manage local affairs, direction towards decentralization was in fact discernible in 50s or in year 50s and 60s. It balanced of the relationship toward the central government. So, the code in 1991 was significant development welcomed by local governments and local autonomy advocates, and became the interface of this decentralization policy, and it echoes the struggle of social movements, the NGOs and people's organization for genuine people empowerment during the dark days of martial law. It expanded the governance frameworks. The code devolves to local government unit basic services include the following: health, the field health and hospital services and other tertiary services, the social services or the social welfare services, the environment communities, based forestry projects, the agriculture or agricultural extension and non-site research, the public and the tourism and the telecommunication services and housing projects for provinces and cities. For instance, the barangay take charge and the municipalities are responsible for the caring for the child care and communicable and control services, and the province manages sanitary health services, and the cities provide the municipalities and the provinces. The case of health service, there were efforts from health workers to return to responsibility to the National Health Department, but this did not succeed, and then President Ramos promptly voted the congressional bill recentralizing health. So the code has prepared for these potential difficulties by increasing the local government share from 11% the internal revenue allotments or IRA were increased to 40% since 1991. So the local government had increased significantly in absolute values from 9.4 billion pesos in 1991 to estimated 141 billion pesos in 2003. So, but the percentage of the total national budget or the IRA shares in minuscule ranging from about 7% in 1992 to 14% in 1997. By 1993, all cities and municipalities received more than what it actually cost them in delivering the development services. Even province which initially suffered from negative net transfers owing to heavy cost of maintaining development hospitals. The code has also enhanced local government financial capacity in a number of ways. Aside from increased IRA, local governments now enjoy the broadened taxing and other revenues rising powers. Example, the increased tax rates and greater elbow room for imposition of fees and charges. A new source of income has also been included in the form of share in the proceeds of from the development and utilization of national wealth located within the territorial jurisdiction of the local units concerned. And also, the local governments are now authorized to float bonds and enter into build, operate, transfer agreements with the private sector. A number of local governments have actually used this scheme to finance their projects such as public market and housings. They can also access foreign and local grants directly to secure loans from domestic sources without need for prior approval of higher authority, unless in instances that involve national security. So, every local government shall exercise the powers expressly granted. And in this code, the right of the people to the balanced ecology encourage and support the development of the appropriate and self-reliant scientific and technological capabilities, improve public morals, enhance economic prosperity and social justice, like promote full employment among the residents, maintain peace and order, and preserve the comfort and convenience of their inhabitants. It is belong to the section 16 of the local code. So this provision finds a strong ally in the roles of interpretations. And in the section 5A, the general welfare provisions, any provision on the power of an LGU, and any question regarding the devolution of power shall be liberally interpreted and resolved in favor of the LGU. Any fair and reasonable doubt on the powers of LGUs shall be liberally interpreted and resolved in favor of the local government units concerned. The general welfare provision in this code shall be liberally interpreted to give more powers to local government units in accelerating economic development and upgrading the quality of life for the people in community. It is belong to the section 5 and say, this is really an exciting challenge. And there was a term, that's what we called democratic impetus. It is a revolutionary provision that is making profound changes in the way local affairs are managed. Is the institutionalization of the mechanism in the legal political framework that encourage and promote direct participation of people in governance process. And I may proceed to the chapter 3 under the title 1. In the code is devoted to how the sector can be involved in the government structures and processes. And in the title 5 of the chapter, And one of the supporting arguments and evidences for the local government code is what we call the local initiative and referendum. And chapter 2, title 9 is and the local special bodies, and title 4, the title 7, the sectoral representation in the local council from the women, workers, and marginalized group open up opportunities for people participation in local governance. So the section 31 is to give the flesh to this intention. The code has initiated the membership of NGOs and POS. So, and after due accreditation in the various local special bodies, this is significant because membership in these bodies would allow the sector to substantially participate in formulating, planning, implementing, and evaluating local policies and programs. So, it is another vital body is the Pre-Qualification Bids and Awards Committee. This is a powerful committee for it evaluates and recommends public tenders for local infrastructure projects. And the financial assistance and other forms of incentives awaits the NGOs and POEs when they undertake such an economic and social and environmental and cultural projects in the community. These incentives are given in the form of local tax exemption, tax reliefs, and other forms of schemes. This is a laudable provision. It is a learning opportunity for the local government and the NGOs, POEs as the dialogue, urge, negotiate, agree, and collaborate on issues affecting the community and the people. So the NGOs, since wala ni say profit, they have financial assistance in accordance for the local government code. And the fourth is engaging the non-government organization and people's organization in local government. The involvement of NGOs and people's organization in local governments as spurred by the implementation of code brief historical sketch the one. So, autonomy and independent of NGOs depending on bench of NGOs leaders, so dependence on external donors. And that's all I can say about my topic for this day. Have a wonderful life. Stay safe always. Thank you very much.